Hey honey, West Day Midgard. My name is Michelle from Throw Once Another Letter, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my top favorite Indigenous books. So, happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Fuck Christopher Columbus, and I hope that you're all having a fantastic day. Don't just read Indigenous literature during the month of November. Don't just read it on certain days that highlight Indigenous or Native peoples. Just read it all year round. Okay? Okay. Good talk. Alright, so we're going to get into some titles, some of the things I really enjoyed, some of like my favorites, and yeah, let's just get into it. So I have no actual order of favorites. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books here. And I do have more books that I'm like, yeah, I really liked these, but these are some of the ones that I like reference in multiple videos, some of the ones that I talk about all the time, stuff that I feature in like books, or not books, feature in like videos and stuff. Other books that I haven't featured, I do plan on making a video about that, so here we go. Alrighty, so first off, I'm going to mention what's on my iPad, and we have I Can Make This Promise by Christine Day. Yep, there. If I tilt it, there you can see it. And this is by Christine Day. It is, I believe, a debut novel, and it is about a girl who learns about her grandmother and her grandmother's identity, and some like family secrets. And it also mentions like ICWA and the 60s scoop, I believe, and like certain things in history that occurred to Indigenous peoples that caused children to be taken from their families and given to like white families to, you know, do the thing. So I read this in, I believe, June of 2020. Was it 2020? Oh my gosh. So that's around this, I think that's around the same time that I met Margaret from the Word Nerd, and I believe it's 2020, either that or 2019. I'm not entirely sure. But you can go back on Margaret's channel and like look it up. But I was a guest host for Vaultathon, and it was a really fun time. It was like my first time being on a live show with like a bunch of other people. I believe it was Margaret and Christine. That was like the first time I met Christine, myself, and then one other person. I can't remember their name just right off the top of my head, but they were there as well. They're pretty great. I think I'm on another show, something with them, but I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But yeah, we read the book and talked about it, and we watched Brother Bear. It was a good time. So that's on the iPad. Next, I'm going to talk about What the Chickadee Knows by Margaret Newton. This is a poetry book about, that's Anishinaabe, and it's very much about like nature and things like that. It's been a while since I've read the poetry book. I think I'm going to read it again for Indigathon. But one side, the cool thing about it is that one side is in Anishinaabe and the other side is in English. And so, yeah. So you get to see like both sides of it. And I loved reading both sides, and it's very beautiful. It's one language that I just cannot, I'm not good at pronouncing things. But luckily I have a few friends that do like speak some of it, and so they can be really great. So yeah, that's poetry for you. So if you're looking for an Indigathon recommendations, there you go. The next book we have is a little bit controversial, just because the author herself has written some things that her identity is constantly being called into question, and for me it's just annoying. But this is Race to the Sun by Rebecca Rohnhorst. There's a couple things that culturally that like rub people the wrong way me personally, I am not Dine, so I cannot speak to that experience. However, I did really enjoy reading this while I read it. There's certain parts of it which I think I'm going to read it again for Indigathon. There were a couple of things that I remember reading, and I'm just like, I felt that wholeheartedly. Like, there's a lot of experiences that are very common amongst all Indigenous people where you just feel a sense of community and a feeling of family, whether you're from, like New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, Brazil, wherever. We all have some shared experiences of family and culture. So that was really fun reading this. So that's that. Next we have is Seducing His Secret Wife by Robin Covington. And this is a very spicy Harlequin desire. And this came out in February 2021. And I read this with Bethany for the Indigenous Romance Read-Along. It was a super fun 6 months. We read 6 different books. You can check out our live shows on Bethany's channel. And then I do have a couple TikToks featuring like some of the books. Which that one is not in this pile, but it should be. So just give me a minute. Another book that we read that I really enjoyed was Sanctified by Maggie Blackbird, and this is part of the Matawapit family. This is the 3rd book in the series. The 4th book is already out. I haven't read it yet. It's on Kindle. I do plan on reading it at some point, but I do want to go back and read the 1st book, which is about another character that was in this, so I get to learn more about that couple and how they came to be. So this is a very spicy romance. It's very it looks long and chunky, but it's a nice floppy paperback, and the text is really easy to read, so that was nice. And it is about a divorcee who has to come back to his family town, and there's an election coming up, and the local waitress, the diner waitress, her brother is also running, and she is a little bit of she has had problems with addiction in the past, and so it does talk about addiction and what it does to families, and what divorce does to families and children and things like that. So that's good. And then we also talk about some very prodigal son type of things, and so there, because the family is Catholic, of the love interest, so there is some of that there. And I just really loved this because this was an exploration of a girl that is also very honest and very in tune with her feelings and her spirituality, and just doesn't give a heck about what she says or how she acts. She even says to him I am mean, I can be mean. And I loved that because a lot of cultural differences and cultural things where we're oh, you have to be good, and you have to be good to your man, and you have to make him a plate and do all these things for him and all that. But she challenges the gender norm of that, of I can be mean, and I love that. I loved it. Next we have this was given to me by Cynthia Lettich Smith herself, and this is her book, Rain Is Not My Indian Name, and this is about I believe she is, I actually don't know what she is. Gosh, I don't know. I actually have no idea what Rain's tribe is. I cannot remember for the life of me, but it's really good. It's about a girl whose best friend passes away, and he dies tragically, and this book is about her reconciling with her grief and learning more about her culture, and exploring journalism, things like that. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it 4-star. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was very short, so, I mean, good times. Next this is a children's book, and I have a couple of children's books here, because I really enjoy children's books, especially Indigenous literature that's, like, for little kids. Love it. Love anytime there's Indigenous representation in a book, I will read it. I don't care. I love it. The only time I don't like it is when they have, like, animals. So this is Jojo McCoon's The Used to Be Best Friend by Don Quigly, one of my favorite Indigenous authors. I love her so much. I read her debut, which is also going to be in this list, but I think you knew that. Jojo McCoon's is, I believe, Ojibwe? Yes. Jojo McCoon's is Ojibwe, and so there is some language in here as well. And I wish that this was, like, I hope this gets a sequel or something like that, because, like, I just want to see JoJo living her best life in school and, like, explaining to her teachers, like, her culture and, like, how she feels about it, because that's kind of how I feel like when I was a kid, because I would bring stuff up that I did when I was a little kid, and, like, oh, I went to my grandma's house and we did this and that, and I got to see my cousins, and, like, we did this thing with our culture. So, like, I saw myself in JoJo, and also because she is just so, like, headstrong, and she, like, but also at the same time, she's so funny. She's very, she's not silly, but she's fun. I liked it. And I also really enjoy the illustration. I read this in, like, an afternoon. I read it as an arc. I got it as an arc, and I read it, and I still haven't done my review but I need to. But I really love it. So check that out. I gave it 5-star. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. 7 books left. Next we have is Bone Black by Carol Rose Golden Eagle, and this I read in, I believe, November. I think I did read this for Inditathon. This was a really deep book. It talks about missing, murdered Indigenous women. There's also mentions of, like, sexual assault, miscarriage, pregnancy, murder, death, some delusions. It gets very deep and very, like, kind of metaphorical, and there's a lot of symbolism, and I really liked this exploration. If you're looking for something scary and kind of deep, this would be the book. I do have a video exploring the correlations between this book and my one of my aunts who is a victim of a murder victim, and how our, like, things that happen in our family and murders and things like that. So definitely check that out. I will try to link that down below, but I really enjoyed this book a lot. I think I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It still, like, disturbs me to this day. Like, I'm still, like, I can't believe that I got through that. It was really heavy, but I also really loved it. My mom didn't like it as much. She thought it was really creepy, but that's because she's a lot more sensitive to certain, she's more of a tragedy type of person, not necessarily, like, a thriller. Next we have is Ancestors Approved, Intertribal Stories for Kids. This was edited by Cynthia Lettich Smith. However, there are stories in here by Joseph Brushak, Art Colson, Christine Day, Eric Gansworth, Carol Lindstrom, Don Quigly, Rebecca Rohnhorst, David A. Robertson, Andrea L. Waters, Kim Rogers, Cynthia Lettich Smith, Monique Gray Smith, Tracy Sorrell, Tim Tingle, Erica K. Worth, and Brian Young. And so you heard that lineup. There's a lot of really great authors in here. The cover art is beautiful. Even the spine is good too, because it has it in, like, red foiling. If you read There by Tommy Orange, I don't have a physical copy of that. I did really enjoy it, but it's like on like I gave it like a 4-star, I think, but I don't have a copy of it yet. Like eventually I'll get a copy. But if you were looking for like a light version of what there would be without the like cultural like explaining of like blood quantums and things like that, and like the darkness that is there. If you're looking for like a fun powwow story, this is it. Okay. Next we have is my favorite book of like all time, written by David Heskawambly-Wyden, and we have Winter Counts. Look at all these tabs. I think I might read it again for Digitathon. I don't know. We'll see. It's been a while since I've read this book. I'd definitely skip chapter. I think it's like chapter 14 or something like that. But there's a chapter that is page 124. There is a death, and it's not a good time. So like the entire chapter 14. If you are sensitive to child death, if you're sensitive to that, don't read it. Don't read that chapter. Just skip it. Just come to me and I'll tell you what happens, because I don't ever want to read that chapter ever again. Like I saw the page and I was like, everything just kind of flashed back, and sometimes it like still haunts me, because like a lot of it's real, you know. I love this book so much because I grew up kind of like hearing stories of like, oh yeah, so and so, like I grew up really fast, I feel like, because I'd hear stories of like oh, so and so hit his girlfriend, and like so and so hit his girlfriend and beat her up, and so she went back to her grandma's house, and then she told so and so, and then he talked to his dad, and his dad talked to a couple of his friends, and in the middle of the night they went over there and they beat the shit out of him, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, I never really thought about that, like, oh, that's really bad that happened to her, and then, you know, that's really good that those guys, you know, taught him a lesson and whatever, but, like, that's what Virgil does. Virgil is a vigilante on the Rosebud Reservation, where he goes in and beats, like, literally, like, page 1, he's beating the shit out of a guy for sexually assaulting this girl. He's a coach and, like, you know, position of power thing, and so he's beating the shit out of this guy, and so he ends up having to he gets tasked with finding I think heroin, right? Heroin? There's some kind of drug that is coming in, and they're like, yeah, we want you to figure out who's doing it and, like, get it out of here. And he's like, that's not really my thing. Like, that's something you should leave up to so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, whatever. And then he ends up having to deal with it himself because his nephew, who he takes care of, gets impacted by this drug. And so he's like, I'm going to figure out what's going on, who's doing it, where it's coming from, and he finds out a lot of shit on the way, and he also gets to connect with like an old flame. And so I really enjoyed this. I really loved this. I got to read this. I read this in September of last year. I got to talk to David himself and like ask him questions about it. I still would, like, if you're watching this, I would really love to do an author interview with you. I really, 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 really want to. I love the fact that people read, like, notice my recommendations and they're like, oh yeah, I read this because of Michelle. Like, that makes me so happy. Like, everything in me is just like, I'm so honored that you thought of me that way. So yeah, one day I want to do an author interview with David Heskawambly-Wyden. I promise I'm not that weird. Anyway, so, and it also has a lot of Lakota words in it, and I love seeing my language in this book, And I just love the fact that, like, he took the vigilantism trope and, like, made it so just, like, gritty and, like, true to life. And like I said, I grew up, like, not really, like, realizing it. And then when I was reading this, I was like, oh, that kind of sounds like something my uncles would do. And then I was like, oh, like, the bing, bing, like, the realization moment hits my brain. And I'm like, oh, that's what they were doing. So this is just my favorite. I cannot wait for the second book. I can't wait for whatever I know there's a book that's coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but there's another book that's like, oh, you get to see more of him, and there's another thing that he's in, and I'm like, I need it now, today, here. So yeah, just talking about my favorite. Next I have a nonfiction, and this is Hashtag Not Your Princess, Voices of Native American Women, edited by Lisa Charlie Boy and Mary Beth Leatherdale. And I read this last year for Intertathon. I'm probably going to read it again just because it is so short. And it is so very real because you see, like the exploration of, like, fashion, and there's poems and art. And it's just very empowering for not only Native women, but, like, for Natives in general. Like, you just see all of these amazing women doing all of these things and writing these things, and it just gives me so much inspiration, and knowing that there are people out there that are just doing the best and doing the most within their culture and within the people. It's great. I love it. Soren fell down for a second. I was like, what? Alright. So I got 2 books left. And then this video's... Well, 3 books. 3 books left. And then this video's over. I hope that you're enjoying this time with me. If you got all the way through, you can leave... Instead of leaving an emoji of your favorite color, tell me what... Like... What am I going to say? Leave me an emoji of your favorite fall color. So, and then if you can't do that, if you don't have emojis on your phone, you can always just make the this one and then the 3, how you do, like, the old school heart. Next we have Fry Bread, a Native American family story, written by Kevin Noble Millard and illustrated by Juana Martinez Neal. And this is Caldecott Honor winner. And I love the art. It's so cute because it's like your grandma and you're, like, holding a fry bread and little BB and got her on her hip and everything. I love that. I also just wanted to preface that a lot of this is native to America and Canada, but I do really want to make a habit of buying children's books for, like, Maori stories and that of Australia, Indigenous, like, from everywhere. So, like, if you know of some recommendations, please let me know, because I want to be able to read my son, not only stories from, his own, this country's people, but, like, everywhere, So, there's also really good art, too. Like, look at that. Like, families all gathered around. And that's what I love about, what I love about my culture and about Indigenous people in general, is the way that families come together. And, like, I don't have that anymore. After my papa passed away, we went from, like, 40 people Christmases to, like, 5 people. And that really has done a toll on me mentally and emotionally. I really miss, like, big family dinners and, like, big family Christmases and things like that. And little kids all around and, like, running around, ripping apart their Christmas gifts and, like, all of the food and stuff like that, Whereas now it's just, like, our little family, and, a lot of people are, like, content with that. who don't have big families, but me as somebody who had a big family, I can't really take it anymore. So like seeing it in books and like I just reminisce and I get jealous because I don't have that as much anymore. I really miss it. But this is so good. I love this, and Soren likes it too. He likes pointing out to like certain colors and things like that. Yeah. One of the last picture books and one of my favorite picture books so far is We Are Water Protectors, written by Carol Lindstrom, illustrated by Michaela Good. Look at this. So, I can't remember her name, but Immediata on Instagram bought this for me for my birthday this year, and I read it and I really loved it, and I thought it was so good. And line 3, and there's another book that's coming out. I think somebody was talking to me about it, and so I was like, I would love that. I would love to learn, like, have more water protector books, because it is so important, mini wichoni. So I'll show you some of my favorite art here. This one's also one of my favorites. I love the way, I think this is watercolor, but I love the way that art is shown in books. Let's see. Talks about the pipeline here. And it talks about how bad it is. It's a big black snake. That one's a good one. And I think, see? This one's a good one. How people need to come together and defend the water. See? It's very beautiful. Definitely one of my favorites. Another favorite that I read for Indigathon was, we're going to look it up really quick because I can't quite remember. But I'll show you. Let's see. Alright, one of my other favorites are In the Footsteps of Crazy Horse by Joseph Marshall III. Here's like my Insta. Here's the one that I took, the picture I took for that one. You can find this on my Instagram. I personally really loved this one. This one is about, it also has skin praise. Not necessarily brown skin praise, but it has skin praise. It is about a journey between a young boy and his grandfather, and he takes him to different spots where Crazy Horse fought or lived, and talks about like different things that happened in history, because it is rumored that Crazy Horse himself was like more of a light-skinned person, and this boy like feels really insecure about that he's half Scottish and half Native, half Lakota, and he gets a lot of shit about it at school because his last name isn't a Native name. It's like Mick something. I can't remember his last. McLean. Jimmy McLean. Yep. And so his grandfather takes him on this trip, and he gets to learn more about his culture and like Crazy Horse and the differences and the similarities between them and things like that. And I just love that because you get that like the grandpa. I love grandparents in books. Probably gonna read that again for Indigathon because like I am feeling it. I'm feeling like all of the very happy Indigenous stuff. So you can scroll my Instagram too for a lot of because I have a lot of kids recommendations. Another really good one was Crazy Horse's Vision by Joseph Brushak, illustrated by S.D. Nelson. S.D. Nelson is a really great illustrator. This is what the kind of what it looks like. There we go. So yeah, Crazy Horse is like blue and then the horse is red. I love that. And then another good one is Bow Wow Powwow by Brenda Child. And then it also has, I think, Ojibwe. It's like half English, half something else. And it's all translated. So I really enjoyed that. I think that's all I got for that. Do I have more? We'll see. But yeah, I did read a lot of good Indigenous literature so far throughout all of my years, not just like now. There's quite a few that I received this year that I do need to talk about it, that I do want to read. You know, I got a lot to read already, and sometimes I get really overwhelmed. So like if you're a publisher and you're watching this and you sent me a book, I still plan on reading your book. I still plan on reviewing your book. I'm just taking some time. The last book, but definitely not the least, Apple in the Middle by John Quigly. This is going to be an Indigathon group book, so, you know, good times. You already know what it's about if you've listened to things, and I have an explanation on the Indigathon Instagram. I personally really love this for the brown skin praise. I also love this a lot because of the way that Apple's Mushum and Kukum like talk to her and talk things out with her, and that's kind of like what my grandma did for me, and like just the way that her grandparents make her feel just hits me in my feels. And when I was growing up, my grandma used to call me Chepa Girl, which technically means chubby girl, but it was just like I could talk to her and I could like tell her things, and you know, it just you get that feeling when it just like touches your heart, you know. And so this is one of my favorites of all time. I'll always suggest that book. But yeah, this is the entirety of it. Let's see if I can hold it up. Wow. But yeah, this was a good time. So thank you for staying this long. I know that I didn't really talk very fast in this book or in this vlog or video, and a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, it's not that great. It's not that good of a video. But you know what? I don't really care about that. What I do care about is that you took the time to watch it. What I do care about is like the discussions I'm going to have with people about it, or how people are going to tell me that they felt about it, or I really love when somebody reads a book because I recommended it. That just like makes me feel so validated and makes all of this worth it. And I really love the discussions that I have with people and like the things that people tell me, and I just love that sense of community, you know. It's not always about like you know, how good of a video it is, you know. I don't really care about that. So if you came here for quality, if you came here for like, you know, the really cheery, happy, bright lights, editing, all of that, all of the good stuff, you're not going to get that with me. I just record when I can. I record when I feel like it. I record where I feel like it. And if you don't like that, then you don't need to be here. Just enjoy your day. Go about your day. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about what I'm not doing or doing wrong or whatever. Just focus on yourself, you know. It's really tiring mentally and physically if you worry too much about what somebody else is doing. That takes power over your life, and it takes power over your emotions and stuff, and like that's not good for you. Whether I like you or not, that's not good for you to focus so much about what other people are doing with their time and their energy. So, don't let that person, because don't let that person have power over you, because it's not good for you, whether you like me or not. I don't really care. I have a lot of really good discussions with all of you, and I'm friends with a lot of you, and I'll always talk to people that wanna talk, but if you don't like me, then why are you here? So I'm getting into my accent, so that's my signal to. So I hope you're doing well on this day. I know that this video is probably late because it's like halfway in the day, but I don't really care about that. I just want to share some things with you and talk to you. So thank you for spending the 35 minutes and 36 minutes coming up with me. So yeah, have a good time, okay? I'll see you later. Bye. Before you go, make sure you wear your mask, stay inside, don't do anything bad, take care of yourself, make sure you're drinking water. It's been hot out there lately. Don't drive incapacitated, don't drive while you're sleepy. Just so you know that you're valid, the things that you feel, they're valid, and the things that you might be going through a time right now. You might be going through something, and I really feel for you. I know that your life gets really hard sometimes, and sometimes it just really gets you down. But whatever you're doing, that this time will pass. It won't always be this bad. It won't always feel like this. One day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, it's not so bad today, or, oh, I'm having a really good day. Or, whether you did something small or whether you did something big, that still counts. It still matters. And whether or not anyone supports you, what you're doing, just keep going. Just keep living until you feel alive. If it's that bad. I know a lot of people that I know have been going through a really hard time, and just know that it will pass. I'm not going to say anything cheesy like, oh, if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. No, that's bullshit. If something is really, really affecting you, it will pass. At one, it might really get you down, because it's been getting me down lately. But I know that it won't always be this bad. I'm not always going to feel this way. So, just try to, drink your water and eat something if you can. Try to do something that makes you feel good. Move your arms around a little bit. Maybe dance to your favorite song or something. Whether you're sitting or standing or laying, just all the good things to you. I'm getting tired now, so I better cook something. It's 5:30. My husband's going to be coming home at like 6. So I don't even know what I'm going to make. I have a hamburger out, but I don't know what I'm going to make. So we'll see. That's all for me. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.